Hello everyone and welcome to another JavaScript lecture. In this lecture we'll learn how to create constructor functions. So we use constructor functions to create reusable code for objects. Okay, so for example, let's say you want to create a hero object as we did in the last lecture with the strength value, the armor value, etc. But later on you want to reuse those properties on different heroes or characters. And that's how we do it with constructor functions. We already have predefined properties for each character. So I'm going to show you right away how to do it. So the first thing you should do is create function and then create hero. Now, whenever you create a constructor function, you have to make sure you start the name of the function or the constructor with the capital letter. Okay, in this case, we will start with capital H for hero. Okay, now parentheses and curly brackets. Now, inside a function, we need to create the properties and values. In this case of a constructor function, what we do is basically create 3 arguments inside a parenthesis. So let's do, the arguments must be the properties in this case. So armor, strength, and attack. Now inside the constructor function, we type a new keyword, which is called this, dot armor equals to the argument value. Okay. Now we do the same thing for strength equals to strength. And now we do the same thing to attack equal to attack. Okay, so here what we are doing is creating the keyword this means the current object that we are referring to, or this object, which in this case is the object hero. And then we type armor as the first property, which is equal to the value of armor as argument. Okay, we will later create values to each of these properties, or in this case, each of the arguments here. Okay. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole process of creating a constructor function. And if you want, you can go ahead and create more properties to it. Okay, just remember that you should put always the properties as an argument value here as well, and then here. Okay, now we have the properties that we want for each hero, which is armor, strength, and attack. Okay, so now I want to create different heroes with different values for each armor, strength, and attack. To do that, we need to create an instance of an object. And an instance of an object is basically creating a new object, like we created the array with the new. So in this case, we will create a new object. So the first thing you should do is create a variable. And the name of the variable is going to be dwarf, which is going to be the first hero that we want to create, equals to new hero. Okay, remember that to instance an object, you need to use the name of the constructor function, the same name. And now parenthesis. And inside the parenthesis is where you're going to give the values that you want. So in this case, I'm going to give value, let's give it a 4. Let's give it all 4s. I'm sorry for the dwarf. Let's give it a little bit more values to it. 5. Let's give it a 5 to each property. So now we have a dwarf, okay, with its values, and let's create another object, or let's instance another object. Let's call this barbarian. Let's give it a new hero. A 7 and another 7. And let's create an elf. And here we can type 9 and 9. Okay, so these are the 3 heroes. You can create a lot more heroes if you want. And now, in order to see the heroes or to use their properties on the web page, you just type document write. And inside document write, you can type, let's see, hero properties. And let's give it an H2 here, or H3. H3, and here I have to close H3. Okay. Down here, let's type document write. And here, let's type strength. And let's type here dwarf armor, semicolon, and let's give it a plus, and document dot write. And so the first was armor. Sorry, I forgot here. Second is strength. So dwarf dot armor, and now strength. Okay, semicolon, and finally document dot write and attack. Dwarf dot attack plus BR. Okay, awesome. So let's save this and see what happens. And there it is. Hero properties. Well, we should know what hero is. So I think hero properties, let me type here. We can go here and type the name. Name. Let's create a new property. This name and name. And now here, the name is going to be the dwarf. Okay, and here, this is the barbarian. And here, this is the elf. Okay, and now here, instead of hero properties, we can type the dwarf dot name and line break here, and also let me check an H3. An H3 here and an H3 here, and a plus symbol here, and hopefully, okay, we still need a space here. Okay, finally. there it is, dwarf properties, and then we have armor, strength, and attack. Now, I'm going to show you a very, in this case, I just remembered something we can do to prevent that we go, every time we want to change barbarian or elf, we go here to the dwarf and have to change it one by one. So in order to do it in a simpler and faster way, we just type variable character equals to, in this case, dwarf, which is the variable, this one here, or the object. So here, let's change this to character variable, character, and character. Okay, let's save this. And if we run it, there it is, dwarf properties, blah, blah, blah. So now if we want to see the barbarian, we just have to type here barbarian. Instead of, you see that instead of going one by one and change it here, let's say if we have 1,000 lines of code here and you have to go one by one, would be a little bit a waste of time. So what we create is a variable, a unique variable where we can change the name, or in this case, the object that we want to see. And now you'll see that barbarian properties 777 and an elf. And there it is. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much how we use objects. And of course, later on you'll learn how to create a little bit more complex objects with more properties and more values. But for now, I think you can understand how this works and the basics of it. Now, you can also create a for loop to see everything that is inside an object, all the properties. So let's see how this works. Let's delete all this and let's create a for parentheses. And inside the parentheses, now you create a simple variable. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it x, var x in, and now the name of the object, or in this case, the hero that you want to see, the properties. Let's type dwarf. And now document dot write. And now you can type x plus and colon plus again and dwarf. Now square brackets, and inside the square brackets you're going to type x. Now you can type plus again and line break. Okay, and that's it. Let's see all the properties of the dwarf, and there it is. Name dwarf, armor 5, strength 5. If we change this to let's say the elf, we need to change it here as well and run this, and there it is. Okay guys, so now you know how to create a new object, you know what an instance of an object is, you know how to use the keyword this, and basically you know how to create, manipulate, and edit properties of an object. Okay, so this is all, and see you guys in the next lecture. Bye.